First name is Diane, D-I-A, one N and an E. Last name is Kirkpatrick. Very long 11-letter word, which is why my parents gave me a 5-letter first name, so it would fit in forms. So D-I-A-N-E, and then capital K-I-R-K-P-A-T-R-I-C-K. And my father said he'd been called everything except St. Patrick. My working title for my own story for my family of my life is Story of an Unplanned Life, because one thing led to another, and I didn't make a plan when I was a kid, and yet everything seems to have woven together in a very interesting way. I could never see where I was going next, and then suddenly I'd be somewhere. That is the way life is. You don't know what the pattern of your life is until the end. That's in spades what happened to mine. I still can't predict, because there are things like this. Who knew that a former student of mine, Mark Clegg, would recommend me to this program, which links me with the Ann Arbor Public Library and archiving history, which is incredible. I always was interested in history. The things I liked best as a kid was a story that would take a family and, take it through its whole life. And you could build your own path through it. Mother realized that I liked playing around with colors and painting and trying to do things. And I particularly fell in love with finger painting. So when I was 2, she would sit me in a bathtub to give me my bath. She'd turn on the water, she'd put some paper in, and she'd say, okay, you figure it out, and when it's done, call me and I'll come in and we'll put it on the refrigerator and it'll dry and you'll have your picture. That kept me out of her hair nicely, and I just have loved scribbling and that kind of thing, and that residue is still in my fingers to a certain extent. It was hard for me to find a way to repair it. I'm somebody that keeps being attracted by the next little thing that catches my attention. There was a period when I came back from Europe and I didn't know what I was going to be able to do, but through contacts with the man who was director of the art, at that time, gallery in Grand Rapids, I was hired on to be education director. So I had to teach the students through a program that would prepare them to see whatever current exhibition we had in the gallery. There was an exhibition of puppets. And at the end of my talking about it and listening to them say what they liked best and so on, I said, would anyone like to try it? And this young man, kid came to about here as I was standing, and he raised his hand immediately, and he had been so quiet I thought he wasn't paying attention. Instead, he'd been glued to what was happening. The teacher was at the back of the room, and he instantly said, I would. And he put his hand through that and he began talking to the puppet. And she began crying. It's the first time he'd spoken ever. And he found somebody that had listened. I mean, it was just, you get into situations that you didn't expect to get in. They just teach you the breadth and length and variety of humanity. That history is history. It's a lot of segments. It's like a very tiny mosaic. But one memory touches another and touches another and touches another, and pretty soon I'm way over here instead of where I thought I was going, which is more that way. One thing led to another. When I went to the art galleries, I looked at all of the older things, but increasingly I was interested in the artists who were experimenting in new media, because the ones that had passed away had been studied to death as far as I could tell, and I couldn't contribute anything new. How would we know about Italian art if we didn't have the recorded writings of those artists? But I had to find a person whose work really challenged me and who I was excited to study. Because writing, doing the research and writing and the due diligence is not a light thing to do. His name was Eduardo Paolozzi. One of those pieces turned up in a show at the Contemporary Art Gallery. and I saw it and I fell in love with it. So my dissertation was on him. It took me a while to find any college that would even consider having me write on such a contemporary artist. For students, I think the students come in and what you try to do is to share with them in the best way you can what you love about what you are showing them, to show them your interpretation of what is meaningful to you and not worry about the fact whether it's theirs or not, but begin to sharpen their eyes. In other words, bring an assortment of things and get them discussing among them and ask questions and discuss. And out of that comes something that suddenly the penny drops, as the British would say, and they've got it. And it's then theirs for life. Anything they look at will start a train going that will lead them in a direction that will lead to a memory.